Good Wednesday afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another video. And as you see, back down in my library, so that means I get to show you guys what I got in the months of August and September. So I decided to do this little recent book haul earlier this month so I can focus on a little bit more. So I decided to just do it today. So without further ado, if you guys seen my channel, you know how this works. I do the online orders and then Barnes and Noble. So I only have like one book from Amazon that I'm going to show off. Then the rest are from Barnes and Noble. So I have quite a few right here. Without further ado, let's get started with the one book I got from Amazon. And that said book is The Silver Scream by Roy Merkin. And this is basically the Ice Nine Kills novelization that is basically about their album. And it's a really, really small novella. And it sounded pretty dope. And I'm just going to read the back of it. Fresh from the cutting room floor, The Silver Scream exposes the bloodiest behind-the-scenes details of the most gruesome, shocking, true crime tragedy of our time. Part autopsy, part grisly director's cut. This is the only book with a comprehensive exploration inside the mind of America's notorious celluloid-obsessed rock star turned cinema copycat murderer Spencer Charnas. Bayonet award-winning television reporter Roy Merkin is the only storyteller in possession of the journals scrawled by disgraced psychotherapist Dr. Ian Black. The Silver Scream reconstructs with unflinching detail how fiction became fact, art imitated death, and the most horrific movie murders by the likes of Jason, Leatherface, Freddie, Michael, and the rest became real. Merkin courageously slashes upon the ghoulish mind and tortured nightmares of Spencer himself, probing deeply with razor-sharp precision. Learn how the box office created so many oblong boxes. Understand why this rock and roll heartthrob chose to stop so many human hearts. So it sounds really, really good. And this might actually be part of my October TBR. Stay tuned for that. But that was The Silver Scream. And that is the solo book I got on Amazon. The rest are from Barnes & Noble. And I have quite a bit here. So let's mosey on with probably one of the coolest books I have in my library now. This is Illustrated Tales collected from Edgar Allan Poe. And it's basically like a short story collection. And it has stories like, well, it has Fall of the House of Usher is in here. It has The Cask of Amontillado, The Telltale Heart, The Mask of the Red Death, The Pit and the Pendulum, and The Raven, and other stories. So this is definitely made for me, and $10 at Barnes & Noble, I had to get it. And the back says, sprung from the shadowed recesses of Edgar Allan Poe's imagination, these 19 tales of mystery and the macabre testify to the brilliance of their author's dark artistry. Each story is colorfully illustrated by the classic artwork of Harry Clarke, in whom Poe found one of his most sensitive and sympathetic interpreters. So this is a really awesome addition to my collection. I'm going to show some pictures off, if I can find some. I can't really see that. So it's pretty gothic in the way it looks. So I really want to dive into some Poe, and it might happen soon. At least The Fall of the House of Usher. I really do want to read that story. But Illustrated Tales by Edgar Allan Poe. Next is a book that I never really thought would happen, but Nick Cutter released The Handyman Method with Andrew F. Sullivan. And I read The Troop by Nick Cutter like 3 years ago, and it is considered to be like one of my all-time favorite horror novels. So when I knew that he was writing another book, I really wanted to check it out. So this is basically like a haunted house story, what I understand of it. So I'm going to read the back. When the Sabin family moves into a rural, unfinished development community, cracks begin to emerge in both their new residence and their lives. As a father wrestling with his unemployment and his uncertain place in the world, Trent Sabin's attempts at DIY home repairs lead him down an online rabbit hole, where paranormal radicalization surreptitiously, that's a mouthful, takes hold as a mysterious instructor delivers dark subliminal suggestions of how to handle any problem around the house. Meanwhile, stepping into the sole breadwinner role, his wife Rita tries to hold the family together as matters spiral out of control and go from bad to worse, even as their son Milo, a boy left to his own devices, exhibits the sinister side effects of far too much screen time. The trials of home improvement, destructive insecurities, and a horror beyond imagination collide in this terrifying story that will haunt readers long after the final page is turned. So yeah, this one sounds really good, and it's not on the long side, so it might happen soon. The Handyman Method. And my copy is actually $2.85. And the final book I got in August is Dead 11 by Giuliano. And this is a honker. And I'm going to read the flap. So, on a creepy island where everyone has a strange obsession with the year 1994, a newcomer arrives hoping to learn the truth about her son's death. And, yeah. So essentially it's kind of like a Survivor type deal. And the cover alone just screams nostalgia. I definitely wanted to check this one out. So I added it on to my collection. Dead 11 by Giuliano. And the last books are the books I picked up this month. Let's see what I got. Okay. So the next 4 books I want to show off are novella length, and they are in contention of being part of an event I want to host on the channel. And it's going to be called Novella November. And I'll give you guys more details on that once that time comes. But some of these are in contention of being part of that readathon. First book I want to show off is The Invisible Man by H.g Wells. And this is a classic sci-fi novel with a touch of horror. And this is about a man who comes up with like a potion to turn him invisible. And the only way for him to go around town is to wrap himself in bandages. So it's pretty much the movie from like the 40s. And I think this is one of the first Universal movie monster movies. That was The Invisible Man. Next up, And Then I Woke Up by Malcolm Devlin. And I'm going to read the back of this. In a world reeling from an unusual plague, monsters lurk in the streets where terrified survivors arm themselves and roam the countryside in packs. Or perhaps something very different is happening. When a disease affects how reality is perceived, it's hard to be certain of anything. Spence is one of the cured living at the Ironside Rehabilitation Facility. Haunted by guilt, he refuses to face the changed world until a new inmate challenges him to help her find her old crew. But if he can't tell the truth from the lies, how will he know if he has earned the redemption he dreams of? How will he know he hasn't just made things worse? So, I picked this up because I saw Gabby from Gabby Reads picked it up probably about like a year or so ago, and she pitched it to where it's like a zombie book, but not a zombie book. This one sounded interesting, and it's really, really short too, so I picked it up to see what it is. It's at 164. And Then I Woke Up. Next up is The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor LaValle. And this one is about Charles Thomas Tester hustles to put food on the table to keep the roof over his father's head, from Harlem to Flushing Meadows to Red Hook. He knows what magic a suit can cast, the invisibility a guitar case can provide. And the curse written on his skin attracts the eyes of wealthy white folks and their cops. But when he delivers an occult book to a reclusive sorceress in the heart of Queens, Tom opens a door to a deeper realm of magic and earns the attention of things best left sleeping. A storm that might swallow the world is building in Brooklyn. What will Black Tom live? Will Black Tom live to see it break? Oh, that hurt. So all I know about this is that it's the main character is black, and I think this is considered urban fantasy horror. So I might give it a try, and it's only 149. So I picked it up on a whim. The Ballad of Black Tom. And the next novella length book I got is 19 Claws and a Blackbird by Augustina Basterica. And this is a short story collection and she is the author of Tender is the Flesh, which I'm looking at it right now on my shelf. I haven't got to that one, but this collects 20 stories, and it's all translated from Spanish. So it might be something that I'd be into, but I've heard that she's kind of like a surrealist horror author. I'll give it a whirl. 19 claws and a blackbird. And I have 4 more books to show off. And let's do it. Next up, The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. And this is a new realm for me because this is considered grim, dark fantasy. And this is part of the First Law trilogy, which is like a 3-book series that has 2 other sequel series. And yeah. So this one sounded pretty dope. It's quite long, God help me. But yeah. I guess it's just basically like about barbarians and stuff. I might be wrong, but I wanted to check out this author and maybe dive into fantasy more. And I hope I made the right choice. But that was The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. And the moment y'all been waiting for, Holly by Stephen King. And this is the next entry into the world of Holly Gibney. And what I know about this is that it takes place during COVID, and Holly Gibney Finders Keepers Agency, and she learns that her mom dies of COVID. Then I guess there's like a kidnapping plot involved. Never read it yet, so it's in my possession whenever I get to it. Holly. 2 more books. Next one is Red Country by Joe Abercrombie as well. And this is considered to be like book 3 in his First Law standalone series. And this one is Joe Abercrombie's vision of a Western. But you got swords and shields in here. And it's definitely going to have like a story of like vengeance. And I think it's going to be a really good one. Just recently, I've been getting into a little bit of Westerns, so I might pick this one up sooner rather than later. I hope. But that was Red Country by Joe Abercrombie. Final book is going to be another horror novel called Black Mouth by Ronald Malfi. And I do own, I think I only own 1 book by him. It's like a novella collection called Ghost Written. And this dude is kind of like, he writes disturbing stuff that kind of like competes with King. Maybe. But I'm going to read the back of this. For nearly 2 decades, Jamie Warren has been running from darkness. He's haunted by a traumatic childhood and the guilt at having disappeared from his disabled brother's life. But then a series of unusual events reunites him with his estranged brother and their childhood friends, and none of them can deny the sense of fate that has seemingly drawn them back together. Nor can they deny the memories of that summer so long ago, the strange magic taught to them by an even stranger man, and the terrible act that has followed them and all into adulthood, and the light of new danger they must confront their past by facing their futures and hunting down a man who may very well be a monster. So I think this deals with like addiction and depression as well. So got a feeling it's going to be a heavy novel, and I definitely want to give it a try soon. It's on the longer side, so that was Blackmouth. And those were all the books I got in August and September. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I have 4 more videos to film later tonight. And I'll get them out as soon as I can. But this afternoon, I'm going to throw on The Expendables 2 and 3, gearing up for Expendables 4 on Friday. So, that's all I got for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and look forward to more videos coming soon. And the start of spooky season is happening in less than 2 weeks. So you'll probably see me down here a little bit more, because I'm going to have my October TBR, and I'm probably going to have like horror recommendations and popular horror books that I want to read soon. Those 3 videos are definitely in my plans, so look forward to that. But other than that, I'll see you guys later. Adios. Peace.